Welcome. It's great to have you joining us today on English Rise podcast.
Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the English Rise podcast. This is your right place to learn easy English through real conversations and improve your life at the same time. I am Anna.
And I am Tom. Here, we talk about real-life topics, share simple ideas, and help you improve your English naturally through conversations. So we are really happy to have you with us today.
You know, Tom, I think everyone has experienced this. Some mornings feel amazing. You wake up, you feel fresh, you have a clear mind, and somehow the whole day feels easier.
That's true. But then there are also those mornings when you wake up late, you feel tired, you check your phone, and suddenly you realize that a lot of time has already passed.
Exactly. And sometimes the strange thing is, the day has just started, but we already feel stressed.
Yes, it's like the day is running and we are trying to catch up with it.
And that actually makes me think about something interesting. Have you ever noticed how much your morning affects your whole day?
I think it affects us more than we realize. A lot of people think a morning routine is only about waking up early or following a strict schedule, but I think it's much deeper than that.
I agree. A good morning routine is not about being a perfect person or having a perfect life. It's about giving yourself a good start. It's about creating small habits that help you become more focused and disciplined.
Yes, because discipline is not something that suddenly appears in your life. It grows from small actions that you repeat every day.
That's such an important point. Many people want to improve their lives. They want to study more, work better, stay healthy, or become more organized. But sometimes they focus only on big changes.
Right. They think, I need to completely change my life starting tomorrow. And then they create a huge plan.
Exactly. Maybe they decide, I will wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, read a book, meditate, and do everything perfectly.
And the problem is, after a few days, it becomes too difficult. They feel tired, they stop, and then they think they are not disciplined.
But maybe the problem is not that they are not disciplined. Maybe they just started with something that was too difficult.
Yes. I think real discipline starts with simple promises you make to yourself and actually keep.
For example, something as simple as getting up and making your bed, drinking water, or spending a few quiet minutes planning your day can make a difference.
Because when you complete small things in the morning, you start your day with a small win, and that feeling can change the way you see yourself.
That's true. You start thinking, I can do this. I can control my actions. And slowly, those small habits become part of who you are.
And I think another important thing is that a good morning routine looks different for everyone.
Yes, because not everyone has the same life. A student, a worker, and a parent may all need different routines.
Exactly. The goal is not to copy someone else's morning. The goal is to create a morning that helps you become better.
And that's why this topic is so interesting. We are not just talking about mornings. We are talking about how small daily choices can build a stronger version of ourselves.
If you enjoy these kinds of conversations and want to improve your English through real-life topics, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more episodes.
Now, let's continue our conversation because there is something interesting about morning routines. Many people think having a good morning routine is only about waking up early, but I think there is much more behind it.
Yes, exactly. Waking up early can be helpful, but it is not the only thing that creates discipline. A person can wake up very early and still waste their time.
That's true. For example, someone may wake up at 5 a.m., but then spend the next hour scrolling on their phone and doing nothing important.
Yes, and at the end of the morning, they are awake, but they don't really feel productive.
Right, because discipline is not about the time you wake up. It is about what you do with your time after you wake up.
I think that is a very important point. A disciplined person is not someone who has a perfect schedule. It is someone who can make good choices, even when they don't feel like doing something.
Exactly. Sometimes we wait for motivation. We say, I will start tomorrow when I feel ready. But the problem is, we may keep waiting forever.
Yes, motivation is not always there. Some days you will feel excited, and some days you will feel tired. But small habits help you move forward on both types of days.
And I think mornings are a great place to practice this because the day is still fresh. You have a chance to decide how you want to spend your energy.
That's true. The morning gives you a small opportunity to choose your direction before the outside world starts demanding your attention.
I like that because sometimes our whole day becomes busy because we start it without a plan.
Exactly. When you wake up and immediately start reacting to everything around you, you are not really leading your day. You are just following whatever comes next.
And that can make people feel tired and frustrated, not because they did too much, but because they felt like they had no control.
Yes, and that's why a simple morning routine can help. It gives you a few moments where you are in control of your own actions.
It doesn't have to be complicated either. Something small like drinking water, opening the window, stretching a little, or thinking about your main goal for the day can create a better start.
Exactly. The goal is not to create a perfect morning that looks impressive. The goal is to create a morning that supports your life.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change everything at once. They create a huge plan and expect themselves to follow it forever.
Yes, and when they cannot follow it, they feel disappointed. But building discipline is a process. It takes time, patience, and small steps.
That's a really important lesson. Small actions may look simple, but when you repeat them every day, they slowly change the way you think and act.
And that is where real self-discipline starts. Not from a big decision, but from small choices you make every single morning.
Yes, exactly. And I think this is something many people forget. They believe discipline means making one big change in life, but actually it is built through small actions that you repeat again and again.
That's true. A lot of people want quick results. They want to become more productive, more organized, and more focused in just a few days.
Right. But real change usually doesn't happen that fast. It happens when you slowly create habits that become a normal part of your life.
And that's why a morning routine is powerful. It gives you a chance to practice discipline every day with simple things.
For example, if you decide to wake up and do one useful thing before checking your phone, that is already a small act of discipline.
Yes, you are basically telling yourself, I am choosing what deserves my attention.
I really like that idea because attention is one of the most important things we have. If we give our attention to random things every morning, we may lose the energy we need for important things.
Exactly. And phones are a big part of this problem today. They are designed to catch our attention. So if we are not careful, they can easily become the first thing we focus on.
I think many people can relate to this. You wake up, check one notification, and then suddenly you are watching videos or reading things you didn't even plan to see.
Yes, and then after some time, you ask yourself, where did my morning go?
That feeling can be frustrating because you know you had time, but you didn't use it the way you wanted.
And that is why creating a small morning routine can protect your time. It helps you start the day with intention instead of just reacting to everything.
I think another important thing is that people should make routines realistic. Sometimes we see other people's routines online and think, my life should look exactly like that.
Yes, but we don't know their full situation. Maybe they have a different schedule, different responsibilities, or different goals.
Exactly. A good routine is not about copying someone else. It is about understanding yourself and finding what works for you.
For example, one person might enjoy exercising in the morning, while another person might feel better by spending a few quiet minutes planning their day.
And both can be good routines because both people are creating a better start for themselves.
That's right. The important thing is consistency. A simple routine that you follow every day is much better than a perfect routine that you quit after 1 week.
I completely agree. Sometimes people think small habits are not powerful enough, but small habits are actually where discipline begins.
Yes, think about it like building a wall. You don't build a wall with one giant piece. You build it by putting one brick at a time.
That's a great example. Every small action is like one brick. Over time, those bricks create something strong.
And the same thing happens with your character. Every time you complete a small promise to yourself, you become someone who trusts yourself more.
That's a beautiful point. Because self-discipline is not only about getting things done, it is also about building confidence in yourself.
Exactly. And when you have that confidence, it becomes easier to handle bigger challenges in life.
And this is where many people struggle. They want a better life, but they don't realize that their daily habits are quietly creating that life.
Yes, your daily routine may look small, but those small moments are shaping your future more than you think.
That's so true. Sometimes we don't notice the impact of our daily choices because the changes are very slow. But after some time, we look back and realize that those small habits completely changed us.
Exactly. And I think this is why people should stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. They think, I will begin when I have more time, or I will start when life becomes easier.
But the truth is, life will always have busy days. There will always be problems, responsibilities, and unexpected things.
Right. So instead of waiting for the perfect situation, we need to learn how to build good habits even during normal, imperfect days.
I really like that. Because discipline is not tested when everything is easy. It is tested when you are tired, busy, or when you don't really feel motivated.
Yes, those are the moments when your habits become important. If you only depend on motivation, your progress will stop whenever your feelings change.
And that's why having a simple routine helps. Your routine can remind you what matters, even on difficult days.
Exactly. It's like having a small guide for your day. You don't have to think too much about every decision because you already know your next step.
But I think another thing people struggle with is being too hard on themselves. They miss one day of their routine and they think everything is ruined.
Yes, that happens a lot. Someone wakes up late one morning and thinks, I failed. I can't do this.
But missing one day does not mean you lost your discipline. The important thing is to come back and continue.
Exactly. A disciplined person is not someone who never makes mistakes. It is someone who knows how to return after making mistakes.
That's a very powerful idea, because everyone has bad days. Everyone loses focus sometimes.
Yes, and this is where a phrase like get back on track becomes important. You don't need a perfect journey. You just need to keep moving in the right direction.
I think this also connects with how we prepare for the morning. A good morning does not always begin after you wake up. Sometimes it begins the night before.
Absolutely. The way you sleep, the way you prepare your things, and the plan you make before bed can make your morning much easier.
For example, if you decide your main task for tomorrow before sleeping, you wake up with a clearer mind.
Yes. You don't waste your morning wondering, what should I do first? You already have a direction.
And I think that small preparation can reduce stress because your brain feels more organized.
Exactly. A calm morning is often created by small choices we make before the morning even arrives.
That's a really good reminder. Sometimes we blame our mornings, but the real problem started much earlier.
Yes, and once we understand that, we can stop looking for quick fixes and start building better systems.
And building a system doesn't mean making your life strict or boring. It simply means creating support for yourself.
Right. A good routine should help you, not make you feel trapped.
Because at the end of the day, the purpose of discipline is not to control every minute of your life. The purpose is to create more freedom and confidence.
Exactly. And when you start your day with small, intentional actions, you slowly become the kind of person who can handle bigger goals too.
You know, Tom, this reminds me of something. Sometimes a small change in our daily life can teach us a much bigger lesson.
That's true. And I think many people understand this better when they experience it themselves.
Yes, and I actually want to share a simple story. A lot of people can probably relate to this because it's a very common situation.
I think we all have moments like this. Tell us about it.
A few years ago, I remember there was a time when my mornings were always rushed. I would wake up, feel tired, and the first thing I would do was check my phone.
That sounds very familiar. I think many people start their day exactly like that.
Yes, and the funny thing is, I always told myself I will only check it for a minute, but that 1 minute often became much longer.
And then the day already feels like it has started without you.
Exactly. I would get up late, feel stressed, and then spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. It felt like I was always behind.
That feeling is difficult because even if you are working hard, you don't feel in control of your day.
Yes, that was the problem. I thought I needed a huge change. I thought I needed to completely redesign my life and create a perfect routine.
And that is where many people make a mistake.
They try to change everything at once.
Exactly. But instead of creating a big plan, I decided to start with something very small. I told myself, I will just win the first few minutes of my morning.
I like that, because small goals feel easier to continue.
Yes, so I started with simple things. I would drink water after waking up, open my curtains, make my bed, and take a few quiet moments before touching my phone.
That doesn't sound like a huge change, but those small actions can create a different feeling.
Exactly. At first, I didn't think it would make a big difference, but slowly I started feeling more organized and more confident.
Because every morning you are proving to yourself that you could follow through.
Yes, and that was the biggest lesson for me. Discipline was not about forcing myself to do difficult things. It was about keeping small promises to myself.
That's a really important lesson. Sometimes we think discipline is something strict, but actually it can begin with simple choices.
Exactly. And after some time, those small choices became normal. I didn't have to fight with myself every morning anymore.
Because the habit became part of your life.
Yes. And I think that's the beautiful thing about routines. They don't just change your schedule. They slowly change the way you see yourself.
That's true. A small morning habit can become proof that you are capable of improving.
And I think this is why we shouldn't underestimate simple actions. A better life often starts with very small steps.
Exactly. And that brings us to something practical. Knowing that small habits matter is good, but the next question is, how can we actually create a morning routine that works in real life?
That's a great question, because sometimes people hear about routines and they like the idea, but they don't know where to start.
Yes, and I think the best way is to keep it simple. Your morning routine does not need to be complicated. It just needs to help you start your day in a better way.
So the first thing I would suggest is to create a simple morning routine that you can actually repeat.
I agree, because a routine only works when you can continue doing it. If it is too difficult, you will probably stop after a few days.
Exactly. Many people make their routine too big. They add too many things and then feel pressure.
Right. They think a successful person's morning must include 10 different activities, but sometimes a good routine can be just a few simple actions.
For example, you can start by drinking water after waking up, making your bed, opening the curtains, and taking a few minutes to think about your day.
Yes, these actions may look small, but they send a message to your brain. I am ready. I am taking care of myself.
And I think that first small win in the morning can change your mindset. When you complete something early, you feel more confident to do other important tasks.
Exactly. It creates momentum. One positive action can make the next positive action easier.
Another important thing is not to compare your morning with someone else's.
Yes, and that's the second insight. Your routine should match your own life.
Because everyone has different responsibilities. Someone might have time for a long morning routine, while someone else may only have 15 minutes.
And that is completely okay. The goal is not to create the most impressive routine. The goal is to create something useful for you.
Exactly. For example, a student might use the morning to review notes or plan their study time.
A person who works might spend a few minutes organizing their priorities before starting their job.
And someone with a busy family life might simply need a few peaceful moments before the day becomes busy.
Yes, different lives need different routines. There is no single perfect morning routine for everyone.
I think people sometimes get discouraged because they see someone online waking up very early, exercising, reading, and doing many things before breakfast.
Yes, those videos can make it look like everyone should have the same kind of morning.
But real life is different. A routine should support your life, not create more stress.
Exactly. If your morning routine makes you feel stressed or like you are failing, then maybe it needs to become simpler.
Because the most important thing is consistency. A small routine you follow regularly is much more powerful than a perfect routine you cannot maintain.
Yes, start where you are. Use what fits your life and slowly improve from there.
That really brings everything together. Because at the end of the day, it is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about staying consistent with small things that actually help you.
Exactly. And that leads us to another important insight. Many people think discipline means doing big, difficult things every day. But in reality, discipline is mostly about small, repeated actions.
Yes, that's insight 3. Small habits are powerful.
even if they don't look important at first.
Right. People often ignore small habits because they don't feel big enough, but those small actions are actually building your identity over time.
For example, if you decide every morning to wake up and do just one useful thing before touching your phone, that small decision can slowly change your whole mindset.
Yes, because every time you do it, you are telling yourself, I can control my actions. And that builds self-trust.
And self-trust is so important. When you trust yourself, you stop overthinking so much. You stop doubting every decision.
Exactly. And that makes life easier in many ways. You become more confident, not because everything is perfect, but because you know you can handle your own habits.
Now, insight 4 is something very important as well. A good morning routine is not just about what you do in the morning, but also about how you prepare the night before.
Yes, I strongly agree with that. A peaceful morning often starts with a well-planned night.
Because if you go to bed late, or if your mind is full of stress, then waking up fresh becomes very difficult.
Exactly. But if you take a few minutes before sleeping to plan your next day, your morning becomes much smoother.
For example, you can decide your most important task for tomorrow, prepare your clothes, or simply reduce screen time before sleeping.
Yes, these small actions at night reduce morning confusion. You wake up with a clearer mind instead of thinking, what should I do first?
And that saves a lot of mental energy, because mornings are already sensitive. Your mind is fresh, and whatever you do first can affect your whole day.
Exactly. So preparation is actually a hidden part of discipline. It is not always visible, but it has a big impact.
Now, before we end this part, let's quickly connect this to you listening right now.
Yes, we want to ask you something simple but important.
What is one small habit you can add to your morning routine starting from tomorrow?
Maybe it is waking up without checking your phone, drinking water, or just planning your day for a few minutes.
Take a moment and think about it. And if you want, share your answer in the comments. We would really love to know.
Yes, we are curious to hear your thoughts. What does your ideal morning look like? And what small change can you start today?
Take a moment to think about that, because sometimes the simplest questions help us understand ourselves better. And now, let's quickly go through some useful English expressions from everything we talked about.
Yes, these are not just random phrases. These are natural expressions that you can actually use when you talk about your daily life, especially about habits and routines.
One expression we naturally used is start the day right. It simply means beginning your day in a positive and balanced way.
Right, and it doesn't mean something complicated. It can be as simple as doing one small good thing in the morning that helps your mindset. For example, I try to start the day right by avoiding my phone for the first 10 minutes.
Another useful phrase is stick to a routine. This means you continue following your habits regularly, even when it becomes a little difficult or boring.
Yes, because many people start strong but then stop after a few days. So when someone says, I'm trying to stick to a routine, it shows effort and consistency, not perfection.
We also talked about get back on track, which is very important in real life. It means you return to your good habits after you fall off or take a break.
I like this one because it removes pressure. If you miss your routine, it doesn't mean failure. You just get back on track and continue from where you stopped.
Another expression is make a difference. It means something creates a positive change in your life, even if it looks small at the start.
Yes, and the interesting thing is that small actions can also make a difference. Even something like drinking water in the morning or planning your day can slowly improve your routine.
We also use the idea of put something off, which means delaying something important that you should do.
And honestly, many people do this in the morning. They put off planning, they put off starting work, and sometimes that delay affects their whole day.
Lastly, we talked about build a habit. This means repeating an action until it becomes a natural part of your life.
Yes, and this is really the foundation of self-discipline. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You build a habit step by step through repetition.
And if you notice, all these expressions are connected. They are not just language tools. They are also life ideas about consistency, self-control, and improvement.
So instead of just memorizing them, try to feel them in real situations. That's how your English becomes natural.
And maybe next time you talk about your morning routine, you can naturally use these phrases without even thinking too much.
Yes, and that's the goal. Making English a part of your real thinking, not just something you study.
And that's a really beautiful way to put it, Tom, because when English becomes part of your thinking, you don't need to force yourself to speak. It just comes naturally. Now, let's move into a quick speaking practice with our listeners.
Yes, this is the part where you don't just listen, you actually speak. Try to answer these questions out loud, even if it feels a little strange at first.
First question for you. What does your morning usually look like? Think about your real routine, not the perfect one.
And here's a simple example answer. I usually wake up, check my phone, and then start my day slowly. But you can make your own answer. Just describe your real morning.
Second question. What is one small habit you think can improve your morning routine?
For example, I think waking up 10 minutes earlier or not checking my phone immediately can improve my morning. But again, your answer can be completely different and personal.
And third question. Do you think morning routines are really important, or do you think people overthink them?
You can say something like, yes, they are important because they set the tone of the day. Or, I think it depends on the person. There is no right or wrong answer, just your opinion.
So pause for a moment and try to answer these questions honestly. Don't worry about perfect English. Just try to express your thoughts.
Yes, speak freely. Even if you make mistakes, it's okay. The important thing is practice.
And if you are enjoying these conversations and learning English in this natural way, then don't forget to support us.
Yes, subscribe to the English Rise podcast so you don't miss future episodes, where we talk about real-life topics and help you improve your English step by step.
We are building a community of learners who want to grow through real conversations, not just textbooks.
And we would love for you to be part of it.
So, if this episode helped you in any way, make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel for more conversations like this.
Because every conversation is a small step towards better English and a better you.
Yes, and before we end, let's quickly go over what we talked about today so it stays fresh in your mind.
Today we talked about morning routines and how they are not just about waking up early, but about building self-discipline through small daily actions.
We discussed how many people struggle in the morning because they start their day without a clear plan, often getting distracted by their phone or rushing into the day.
And we also learned that discipline is not about one big change. It is about small habits that you repeat every day, like making your bed, planning your day, or simply avoiding distractions at the start of the morning.
We also explored the idea that everyone's routine can be different. There is no perfect morning that works for everyone because our lives and responsibilities are not the same.
And one important lesson was that missing a day does not mean failure. What really matters is getting back on track and continuing your habits.
From the English side, we learned useful phrases like start the day right, stick to a routine, get back on track, make a difference, put something off, and build a habit.
So overall, the main message is simple. Your morning routine doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent and meaningful for you.
Exactly. Small steps every morning can slowly create a better version of your life and also improve your English thinking if you practice with us.
And that brings us to the end of today's conversation. But remember, this is not just the end of a podcast. It's more like a small reminder you can carry into your daily life.
Yes, and I just want to say one thing before we say goodbye. Don't try to change everything in one day. Just pick one small habit from today's discussion and start there.
Exactly. Even something very small, like not touching your phone for the first few minutes in the morning or planning your day for 2 minutes, can slowly make a big difference over time.
And be kind to yourself. Some days will be easy. Some days will be difficult. That's completely normal. What matters is that you keep coming back to your routine.
Because discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, even when things are not perfect.
And we really hope this conversation made you think a little differently about your mornings and your habits.
If it did, then that's already a great step forward.
We are really happy that you spent this time with us today.
Yes, thank you for listening and being part of this conversation.
Take care of yourself and keep growing step by step.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Take care.